understand the back around all that, but it has to meet the certain functions. Well, they got down to that grains, they didn't say that they mixed it all, you know. That big pile that pile had to go.
I will take all of you. I need to get rid of it. I've got some low spots.
Yeah.
They can be pretty low.
Yeah, if, whenever we get to the point that it has to go, I'll back up, put y'all in touch, so that way. But yeah.
Well, I bet it'll take 100.
Oh, gosh, no.
I bet I could take 100 for where I'm at. I got a wet weather spring and
I don't know if he'll show up there or not, will he?
I mean, I might be.
Yeah.
And it just holds up, of course, it's old playground too.
Yeah.
But I would fill that whole.
I think you got about a 20-second.
What's it drop down in the middle?
You know, and then I wouldn't have all that, it's not good for anything but a pond.
Yeah.
You know, but if I could get some height and keep that water from settling there and laying there and get it moved on out.
I'm Blair.
And of course, I need to.
You know, it popped up for Greg.
I was gonna do it this summer and I blowed the motor out of my
But-
my tractor. I like I never got that thing back. It took about 3 months to get parts and fix it.
It's not a good time to have something go right.
Greg, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Worried about
Yes,
toilet
you
paper.
can. Thank you for telling me.
You there?
Do I need to go full screen? I mean, it's, you know, I can make it be a full screen. That's great. No, I've already got one.
Have we done the live?
Is it
No, we're
Oregon?
not.
It's not Arkansas.
Yeah.
It's some other kind of gas that they use.
Okay,
Can't remember the name of it.
we're good. Thank you, Glenn. Have a light.
Probably
Just leave it.
60-70%. They have a schedule all of it.
When gas goes up, you know, basically
Woke up this morning, can't tell.
you know, everything's gonna go up.
For one thing, that, and the other thing, my eyes are scratching. I think actually I might see. What kind of system did you get track back? It's that kind of system. I'm off the side.
This wasn't serious. I mean, it would make a good comedy. You know,
What I like about it
it
is,
wasn't so serious.
it's a canvas, real heavy duty.
That sounds,
I don't know.
has it done its red thing or
Yeah.
Whatever that sounds called.
It's live.
it's loud?
Well,
All right, we got the Zoom worked out and it's now live, so we'll call the meeting to order at 4:31. First order of business is approval of minutes of the October 21st, 2021 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Okay. Have a motion to approve by Barry. Do I have a second?
second.
Michael Ford seconds. Any additions, deletions, corrections, or anybody sees?
Mr. Chair, due to my absence last meeting, I'll abstain for voting on minutes. I wasn't here, so
That's fine.
but I'm sure they're fine.
All right, if I see nobody, any corrections, additions, or deletions, all in favor, say aye. All opposed by like sign. Okay, on the monthly financial statements, starting with the water budget tracking system. Report that the revenue is on water is holding right in line with budget. We are about 2,000 up above budget at 515,000. I think the hydrant fees hasn't had any building yet, but are you through with those or
We're done flushing fire hydrants.
done? So we'll be getting the bill out to,
I've requisitioned the check.
okay. So that's good. That'll show up next month then. Under expenses, everything looks normal through there. We don't know for sure where uniforms and clothing's been posted, but we've been paying the bill, so we'll find out. Linda's gonna check on that and see where we are, but the expenses according to budget is about $2,000 higher than budget at about 385,000. So water's holding real good towards our budget and in line. Sewer budget tracking. Revenue there is also about $4,000 above what we budgeted for this same period of time. Everything seems to be in order and in line in that. Disconnect fees are above budget, and so we've gotten those collected. So overall, all revenue is about 5,000 above what we budgeted at 207,000. The expenses are noticed that the labor is up a little bit with some extra overtime and leased employee expenses. I guess y'all been working some overtime in the sewer. So, maintenance and repairs is about 10,000 above budget, but that should catch itself up as we move through, hopefully, the year. I noticed that the utilities, and it's not, I don't think there's a problem there at all, but the utilities in the sewer is about 5,000 below budget, and the utility account in water was slightly up above budget. So it might have been the budgeting error there as far as that goes, but in total, it's below budget for both companies. I had a question, Silas, on what would be in technical supplies, because I noticed that we didn't have any technical supplies in either water or sewer to speak of.
Yeah, I think technical supplies, didn't we beef that up for as part of that communication work we were doing? And I think I'll have to go back and look at that, but on the technical supplies, I think whenever we were doing the budget, I think, we'd kind of beefed that up for some communication work that we were doing, and we ended up coming out a lot better off on it than what I had anticipated.
Okay.
But I will look into that.
No problem. I just want to make sure we weren't missing something or getting it put into maintenance and supplies as opposed to technical or whatever. So, check that out if you would. As far as the cash in the bank at the end of 10/31, we had $1,098,000. That compares to a year ago at $1,009,000. So it's good to see that our cash balance has gotten back up to where we like to hold it for emergencies and so forth. So does anybody have any other questions or anything on the financials or the balance sheet, trial balance report? Okay, no questions on that. Silas, give us a influent lift station status report.
Okay, so work still continues at the influent lift station, the new influent lift station. It looks like beginning next week, they're gonna set the structures for the wet wells themselves. So tomorrow, they're supposed to start digging for manhole 1, and then where the 3 wet wells go, 1 splitter well, and then 3 wet wells for the pumps. They're supposed to be delivered Monday and Tuesday of next week and be set Monday, Tuesday. So we did run into a little bit of an issue. The bottom slab for the structure itself. A couple weeks ago, DK noticed whenever they were doing the elevation checks, they noticed it was off a pretty considerable amount. So they ended up having another surveying company come in and shoot grade on it again. And turns out that it was off 5.4 inches. The bottom elevation was 5.4 inches high. That was a lot of concern to us, but we were able to work with the engineers and make some modifications on the slope of the pipe coming in and also on the drop going into the structure. And we do believe that it's all been resolved. We had a meeting with them to discuss all this, and we made it very clear that going forward, there's no room for error. So if any of these structures get set wrong, you're gonna have to take it out and redo it. So our wiggle room's gone, but we're still sitting in pretty good shape. But yeah, the work still continues, and they've got the forms built for the walls, and everything's looking good, and weather's been cooperating.
Yep, pray for good weather. So. I sat in on that meeting and I think everything went well and no problems. They agreed that they had messed up and realized that and are gonna make sure everything else is in order. So I think it was good meeting. Yeah. All right, we've been changing out meters. So what's the status on that?
We're moving along very quick. So still they've been getting into some harder meters. So we've gone from 25 to 30 a day down to about 20 to 25 a day. As of today on the meter change out, almost 900 have been changed out. So before we started, before we had a contractor come assist us, we were sitting at about 400. And now we're sitting real close to 900 been changed out. Realistically, we keep going this way. I mean, weather dependent, of course, but we keep going this way, weather dependent. Realistically, probably February sometime will be completely done. We still have just a little bit of Calvert City itself to do. So pretty much where we're at is we've started over on the west side of Calvert and moving to the east. And where we're at right now is Hickory Street. So the majority of everything inside city limits, the majority of it's been done. The only thing that we have left is, of course, Hickory Street, Linden, that area. Then like White Oak, that little neighborhood, then 62 down to Lone Valley, Cypress Lakes RV Park, and probably a week and a half, 2 weeks, Calvert City itself will be done. And then we'll start working on everything outside city limits. And a pretty big chunk of that's already been done too. So I'm estimating, weather works for us and we keep going the way we're going. I feel pretty confident that, beginning February, middle of February, we'll be done with meter change out altogether.
Okay, on the $4 fee, are we going to add that when we got Calvert done to at least the Calvert meters?
Y'all had discussed that.
Well,
So it's gonna be counted.
That was my recommendation, and that's why we've been focusing on the city limits itself, because once we get outside city, we're gonna slow down pretty good. Just the distance between meters and cleaning meter boxes out. So that was kind of why we were focusing on city limits first.
Okay, what kind of publicity do we need to put out to notify the residents that we be increasing their bill by that $4 flat
Of course, they
fee?
do a regular increase, the CPI index on January. So it's money on that information.
Okay, so CPI will go into effect in January and then
$4 a month.
That's what I was wondering. Greg, that's already been approved by the city council, right? So that's all we need.
That's what I was just trying to remember. Glenda, Gene, you got any recollections of what action the council took? I know we brought it back up to them, asking them, can we add the $4? Can we add the $4 service charge? And I don't actually remember did we take any official action or get a consensus, or do you guys have any recollection?
I have actually researched and can you hear me, Greg?
Yeah.
I've actually researched and have the minutes printed in there because I thought that question might come up. So, I mean, I can go get them.
What do you?
Or do you want me to send them to you, because we're not going to be doing anything tonight? So I will.
Yeah. Did they take action on that?
Yes, they took some action on that.
Yes.
And they approved. They said yes, add it.
Yes, I'm fairly certain they did.
Okay. So there you go. Was it do you remember if they did it as a, they didn't modify an ordinance, did they?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
And I mean, I will send them to you tomorrow.
All right. Well, when we're coming up on ready to have them in place and start making that charge, let me know, and I'll check and make sure that we've got all of our authority in
Okay.
place.
Yeah, based on where Silas says we are right now, we should be ready to add the $4 on the next bill.
Okay. Well, send me that stuff, Glenda, and I'll see if we're ready, or if there's anything we need to do to be able to add that.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay.
So that would be in January, the January billing cycle.
If we do it next month, it would be December.
December.
Because we just printed bills this afternoon.
Yeah, okay.
So it would be next month's bill. That would be the $4. And then it would be January's bill. That would be the increase.
I'm not sure what the thinking is of the board as far as whether we hit them at one time with the 3 plus whatever the bill's going to be, and with the cost of living increase and the $4, or do we need to get some publicity out in the paper that new meters have been put in place and going to be adding a $4 fee to that? What?
I think it'd be a good idea to let them know
I do too.
ahead of time. Might save a lot of problems.
Work with
People
Blair.
calling and wondering on my bills. So
Blair is, well, she
Yeah,
can do that.
and we could couch that the way it should be. We're putting in new equipment. This is more accurate metering. There's a lot of good benefits to the public out there that this achieves. I would probably, for discussion, I don't know that I would want to piecemeal it between Calvert and then outside Calvert. I think if we do it, we just do it all. You know, a lot of times you get, when electric companies starts charging you to clear a right of way, that doesn't mean your right of way got cleared. It just means they're starting a project. And so you pay it when that project is it's underway. So just a thought.
I think we're close enough that we could probably do that, particularly if you get all the inside the city done, then.
And I already have a pretty decent amount outside the city done. Horse Barns, Old Calvert City Road, Needmore Road. I mean, we've got a fairly good amount done outside the city. I mean, once we get finished up Lone Valley, then really I'll have to sit down and look at how we're gonna start, but it's probably gonna be, finish up Old Calvert Road and then, Holly Hills and that area. I mean, I'm just guessing when I say, begin part of February, but the rate we're going, if we did want to wait until it was all done and do it all at one time, I mean, I don't think it's going to be that big a difference in time. If we wanted to wait, do it all at one time, or, you know, like you said, if we wanted to go ahead and put it on and say, you know, that the project has started, the project's been going on and we got a good amount done. I mean, I lean on y'all for that one.
I don't know that I would, if I was gonna do it, I would just say that we've got new meters in place and put it on there and.
Yeah.
And if they didn't have it, then they will have it. The other thing that might need to be included in that announcement too is some people may see
You're gonna see higher water bills.
higher water bills simply because of it more accurately.
Slow metering.
Yeah, replacing the old meters for new ones, so.
Is there there's a way to put that on the water bills? No, I'm asking this question, maybe.
We don't have room to
I
put it on. the
mean, we could
windows.
possibly do a sticker, but I already have a sticker that's gonna be going on next month's water bill. So next month's water bill, I'm out of room. I'm completely out of room. And you know, I could have one on January's, the bill that goes out in January. I think we could do a small sticker. That's a lot of work. It's trying to get it worded right and trying to get it where it fits and then putting the sticker on 1,600 water bills. It consumes a good amount of time.
Well, before you get too deep into making the plan, that's got to be, that's set by ordinance. And so the city council, the ordinance itself is going to tell us when the rates change. And so that's probably going to be dictated to us.
There's no way that we can get a message printed, added to the print.
We only have just a few characters that we can put on that bill
Yeah, we're out
because
of
we
room.
need cards.
It's a small card.
I get them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Contrary to proper belief, the mayor gets those bills.
But I mean, anytime we do have to put something on the water bill, we do stickers. Like whenever we do our CCR notification, you know, we do stickers and it works, but it's,
Well, Greg makes a
Several
good point,
hours.
though. I think, you know, we need to make sure the city council is aware of this and on top of it. And maybe we just put out as a recommendation to them that we'd like to start this bill in January, in the January bill. And it will be the meter increase plus whatever that cost of living increase is.
Cost of living automatically goes in, so it's in the ordinance. It-
Okay.
Nothing holds that back.
It goes on January.
It just changes the rate structure and there's no need for an extra line. This will be a flat rate number in there. I guess we're planning on putting it in a separate line. Is that what we were planning on?
I'm gonna have to talk to United Systems on how's the best way to do it.
So can we just kind of put the council on notice that we're moving forward with this? Is that a?
We'll
good way?
get Greg to work on the ordinance, then they'll
Right.
have to approve the
Whatever
ordinance
needs to
and
be
let
done.
them know what we're doing, so. Yep, okay. All right, who's gonna send that to Greg on the rate increase?
I'll just put it on my calendar and I'll call you. You're going to send me the minutes and whatever we've got, right? Yeah, you send me that. I'll put it on my calendar and I'll call you. I'll call you and we'll just move forward.
Okay.
Well, if that requires an ordinance, that gonna require public readings. I mean, we're gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to be moving on that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We'll get that started and get that rolling then.
Good training for the mayor.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So you'll be 100% win. So
I mean, my best guess right now is February. Beginning of February will be 100%. Besides the ones that require us to go back, dig up, replace.
yeah. I mean, both wise, other than sweeping that kind of outlier for me. You feel pretty confident you'll be 100% fit one.
Weather dependent, yes. I feel good about that.
What about, have you noticed any changes in anybody's minimum bills, or was minimum, no longer minimum, or based on what meters you got in?
Not yet, because truth be told, the bulk of the meters went in, the bulk of the meters got read this month. And we had some meters that got put in backwards. We had a lot of bills that were gonna be $20,000-$30,000, and we realized the meter
That's
was put
good.
in backwards. But no, not yet. We have not noticed that bump. And I do believe we're gonna see it. But, it's gonna be a couple of months, get all the kinks worked out, I had a pretty big chunk of them that didn't read off of the radio, so we had some numbers that were entered wrong in the system, and with the amount of meter changeouts that I'm bringing up here every couple of days, it's a lot of work and errors get made, but we're able to resolve them pretty quick.
Well, if my meter was in backwards, and you were gonna send me a check for $20,000, I'd be kind of upset if you figured out that it was incorrect.
We caught them.
It's in backwards, I mean.
Say again?
Never mind. I shouldn't have missed it.
Yeah, no, we found several a couple days ago, and then whenever we ran the billing today, we found several that were backwards that got missed, and we're able to find those very quick. So I feel pretty good that we caught them all.
Just so that I don't have any misunderstanding, all we're really doing, right, is just raising the water rates generally by $4 a month. Is that correct?
It's a flat rate, $4 per month.
And
And
that's, and from a legislative standpoint, that's really all we need, right? Is just increase the rate by $4.
That's correct.
Okay. Good enough.
Did it have any sunset clause in it? Did we ever talk about? a
We can't
sunset?
hear you, Greg.
I think it's delayed, it's kind of,
It
Yeah,
I'm
is,
not saying anything.
Well,
Oh,
we've got
well,
a
okay.
terrible delay. in our-
we've got a delay.
yeah.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
did we ever talk about that being a sunset thing, that when we recouped that money or anything?
To my knowledge, we didn't discuss that.
So it would be for the current replacement plus any additions that we would do in the future, like I was trying to get this smart meter in.
Well, I mean, my thought on that would be, once we get the loan paid off, then, maybe look at starting a sinking fund or something along that line and put that money in there. Because realistically, we do have meters now that are only going to last 15 years. Because we have radios in there, meter itself, is a manual meter, but there's a battery in the meter, there's a battery in the radio. So whenever we get that paid off, my idea would be, start a sinking fund, just take that $4, put it in there. So whenever we get 12 years down the road, we got the money to start changing them back out. Because these are with the batteries and everything, these are 15, 20-year life. That's it. Where we're
Right.
pulling,
When you find out how you're gonna identify that on the bill, that might be an area for you to kind of really scratch your head a little bit about.
Mhm.
I think, what do they call that when they're clearing the right of way? There's a maintenance fee or,
Mhm.
so you might think about something that kind of communicates that that's an ongoing expense, because it's an ongoing issue that we have to deal with.
maybe do like a meter maintenance fee.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Of course, the original $4 is supposed to pay for this water meter project.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
okay.
See, I was
But-
thinking that we may have had a sunset thing in that, if I don't know if that was how it got presented to the council, or I thought we had that discussion, that's what we were doing, was trying to pay for this, so.
Yeah.
If we're gonna have it as a maintenance fee, we probably ought to really think before we stick it on
Probably
there, what
do,
we
yeah.
call it.
Yeah. What was said I can't remember right off the top of my head what we said to the board. But I think it was ongoing, no end. is what we
Yeah, I
were
don't think
talking
there was an end on it.
Okay.
Well, from a legislative standpoint, generally you don't recite the underlying logic. You just say, this is what it costs. And then if you want to, if it is, if we're raising the rate for X period of time, you can do that. But if it's the kind of situation where as we proceed, we will reassess whether we need those funds for other projects, sinking funds, whatever. As you put things in legislation, normally you want to leave, you don't want to hem up a future government. And so you leave it to them to make the decisions based upon the facts that present themselves at the time the next government is in place. Or if this thing's going to last for 20 years, how long is it? What's the repayment period?
5 years on that loan, that water meter loan.
Okay, so that's not an enormously long period, but
And we're
you
already,
just want to think about building in triggers that are going to affect future legislatures. So I guess I'm suggesting maybe just add whatever it is we're going to add now in your marketing of it, in your public relations. You can make whatever kind of explanation you want to make, but as far as the legislation itself is concerned, you probably want to just increase it by $4, and then if we want to change it at some point in the future, we'll change it. Does that make sense?
yes.
Yeah, I think so. We just need to put it in there as a flat rate fee of $4 for replacing the meters.
Yeah, for the moment, and then if if it turns out that we want to change it in the future, or we want to back it off because we don't need it anymore, great.
Okay, all right. Okay, any more discussion on that, Adam? Those were the key items we had on the agenda this evening. So what other items of discussion or whatever does anybody have any questions on anything? Or Mayor, you have any comments to the board on this or anything?
Not on these particular issues. One of the reasons I stopped by is we've looked at what it takes to have some advisors on the configuration of the water plant and just how they operate. So I've talked to Greg about some of those things. And, we do have some advisors have been identified that would be good to help the mayor's office determine what the new water plant configuration would be. Okay, so the questions on how that advisor, how that set of consultants would work for a mayor. So it wouldn't be a lot unlike hiring an outside entity to do those services. In this case, we're going to have some folks take up some extra time and help. So they don't have to. They don't have any authority to make changes. So how the recommendations come out and how the consultants and advisors say that it should look like this. The mayor ultimately, the office of the mayor ultimately makes this proposition that this is why we did it. So this is, there's no need for two advisory boards. This one is an advisory board, doesn't really have authority, but we operate under sunshine laws, reviews these things, such as rate increases and this to have some more people that maybe more to know about certain factors. That's something that certainly can be done. And don't mean to be vague or anything, but there's really, no need to have a double board, and they don't have any real authority anyway. So that's how that would operate. And so we do have a group, or not a group, but some advisors have expertise in certain areas that we can bring to bear on this project to help us out. And as you all know, as we're watching the news and now everybody's reading the bill, trying to figure out how we can do this. This will be the largest single expenditure the city's gonna make. And there's got a very good jump on that. I think we're in a great position to start kicking that around. Okay. So that was the question that came up last time. So I kind of want to come and report back to you. So Greg, you have anything else to add to that, or did you guys have any questions?
No, that seems, no, that sounds like you've got a good handle on it.
All right. Do you have some other items, Silence, you want to touch base with? I think.
The only other thing that I just wanted to make y'all aware of is next council meeting, I'm gonna be asking to surplus some property. I'm gonna ask to surplus it as scrap. But with the meter change out, I've got a bunch of old meters that I need to get rid of that are taking up space. They cannot be reused. They're old, they're past their prime. So I'm gonna try to sell them as scrap. And then I've got several sewer pumps that I need to get rid of that are completely done. It's just, we're starting to get some clutter and I'd like to get it gone. So just wanted to make y'all aware that next council meeting, I'm gonna ask to get rid of some of this stuff.
And you're also working on a dredge.
Yeah. The only thing I have left on the dredge is I just need to pull it out, take some pictures of it, but I've got all the information together. And hopefully in the next week, I've got it on Gov Deals and see where it goes, see if we can sell it.
Is that any funding we generate that way, does it come back to the water and
back to
sewer,
the
or is it
water
go
and
into general budget?
To my knowledge, it comes back to the water and sewer.
I was just looking over some of the old minutes and was curious if we had made any more progress on, it says here we were hoping to get a employee in January to replace Mr. Tim. Have you guys been able to do anything on that front?
Yeah, I haven't done anything on that front yet. I need to sit down and really look at the numbers and I think it's feasible. And I'm hoping to do it. So hopefully by next meeting, I've got some information to give you on that. So, but yeah, Tim is, hoping to retire in August and I would really like to bring his replacement in just as soon as I can and try to get him trained up or get a little bit of training.
Yeah, I understand. It's always nice to get, if at all possible, to get a replacement in a few months before and let that person try to share everything they can.
I mean, I've been with water and sewer for almost 5 years now, and I learn something new every day. We had contractors found a water meter for us a couple days ago that I had no earthly idea existed and had no clue what it went to. So, yeah, learn something new every day.
How are we doing on certifications? We're getting a little more back in track now.
Yeah, they've got a pretty big backlog. They are doing testing, no classes. They are doing testing. Ezra is supposed to sign up for another test. And everybody else, I've got Glenn signing up for another test, and then Curtis is still waiting. He's got some time to put in before he can take another test. But yeah, we're staying on top of that. And as soon as we can get enrolled in classes, or as soon as we can get enrolled in the test, we're getting enrolled. But they've got a very large backlog, and they're only testing like 15 people at a time. So it's hard to get slid in, but we're figuring it out and we're getting in.
That lady from Rural Water Commission or something like that
Heather
contacted
Stevenson.
me about the apprenticeship thing. I haven't heard much about that. I was in the middle of dealing with this cancer, when that happened. So I had to pass on travel. I wasn't able to travel up with her to Frankfurt, but so I don't know. I haven't heard anything else about that.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about it right now. The apprenticeship program's they're moving forward with it, but very slow, very cautiously. They're still not doing in-person trainings. They have a lot of webinars, online trainings, but right now it's kind of slow. So.
You still like some to finish yours?
Yeah, I've got like two more months, and then I'll be able to take my collection license, and I'll be licensed all the way up. I went in August, I think, and I got my treatment for wastewater.
Wasn't sure if you got finished with that since COVID busted in the middle of it or not.
Yeah, we still got a little bit of time. So
Barry, you good?
The only thing that Glenda brought this up after the meeting last time was, we still don't know what it's gonna cost on the bill for a new plant. And you said that the state does it, but they're 2 years behind.
Yeah.
So,
So I kind of took this one upon myself. I know an individual through, well, actually even family with her and didn't know it until, a couple weeks ago. But she has her own company and does water and sewer evaluations. And of course, she does it for non-PSC regulated, right up our alley. I've been talking to her a little bit and she hasn't committed to anything by any means. She just wants some details. So I'm just waiting to see if she gets, see if she'd be willing to do it. So, but yeah, that's exactly what she does, is looks at all your numbers and, tells you what you can afford and what you can't afford.
Okay, good.
Yep. So I'm working on that one.
appreciate it. That's all I've got.
Everybody in? Okay. All right. Have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, Michael,
I'll second.
second, Steve. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank y'all.
You get that diffuser thing down.
Have a good Thanksgiving, guys.
We got,
You too.
yeah, we got any problems on that?
The river.
Just high water, low water?
This has been the weirdest year. Have you,
When you go across the bridge, you look down at those piers that
right.
stick out on
Does
the
that got
Marsh
anything
County
to
side.
do with the block work?
I don't know if it has anything to do with the lock work, but I've had Merco lined up twice now. But with the diffuser sitting at our shop, it's ready to go. All we have to do is bolt it together. And I've had Merco lined up twice and then had to call them the morning of and say there's no point in coming because water jumped up 4 foot. It's just, and it's that quick.
I just wondered how it, with the testing at the end of the line, not up at the front on that, how that was gonna work if we get that little testing out there at the end of the line. And everything said, we'll have a lot more stable readings out there.
Yeah, are you talking about my compliance monitoring? Yeah, so we actually pull that at the chamber before it drops off into the river.
Okay.
Because I have to have a spot that holds a little bit of water for the sampler. So we actually pull it, up there where that stair step aerator is, we pull it right there.
How's that done?
So I'm not,
Contact time was the biggest issue there.
well, we resolved all that whenever we went to parasitic acid.
Okay.
Mhm. So I'm not actually pulling
Your
samples
phone
there
buzzing.
yet because my new permit doesn't become
Linda.
effective until December
Your
1st.
phone.
So I'm not pulling samples there yet, but I pulled rounds and rounds of non-compliant samples. So, of course, DO is just exponentially higher because it comes down the steps and, DO is exponentially higher. TSS, we actually see just a little bump going up in TSS. My guess